I would love to read books and people, because books are people in print and people are books in nature. There are always a lot to learn from every environment, right? And I used to say myself that, Abraham Lincoln and myself are from same family, farming family. Really happy to be a very proud farmer from the farming background. And there are lots and lots of agility there too, even in the farming, right? And in every environment. So I have totally around 20 plus years of experience, and out of which I started my career with Aeronautics Limited, which is an aeronautical company back in India. And so I was fortunate, to start practicing lean practices there. And since then, always the continuous improvement or the value-driven development has always been, my passion and interest. And then I was working for the company called General Electric. I was there for about 5+ years. That company has completely changed my perspective of looking at the leadership, completely different. As you all might know, Jack Welch, and one of the very inspiring leaders who has completely rewritten the G is energy. Of course, you all might have a little background. I'm not here to promote the company, but I have lots and lots of inspiration to carry, from the companies I work. And we'll also cover, as part of some of my presentations. And the company was started by none other than the Thomas Alva Edison, General Electric, right? And I'm here, to share certain perspectives about, how we could use agile, as the form of or as the mode to build the high-performing teams and high-performing organizations. There are lots and lots of wealth of resources or the best practices are available within Agile. And post that, I was working on various other companies as a consultant. So I was with Humana Healthcare Company, I was with Allstate Insurance, then I was with PayPal, and Cat Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then the most recent assignment is with Fannie Mae. And it's been really great journey. And I recently started this Agile just a year before, so it's fairly a new organization, where the motto is really to build a kind of an agile culture and to go transform the world, to go transform the organizations. All right. So without further ado, so before we begin, as we all just want to understand a little more about the audience background, the participants' background. So please raise your hands if your agile proficiency is at expert level, so that you will get an idea, so that I can set up an appointment, so that I can answer. Raise your hand if you feel you are advanced wise. Awesome. Raise your hand if you are intermediate, knowledgeable about Agile. Cool. If you are a beginner, often wishful thinker that you want to learn, grow, just starting. All right, cool. Welcome. Really happy to have such very diversified, very multi-background participants. Always it makes the learning interesting, right, and fun, interesting. We'll make the session as interactive as possible. As like in any agile environments, right? So these are certain working agreement. Raise your hand in case if you're agreeing to it. We'll just go over one by one. Get involved, right? It's to be collaborative and to get into that kind of discussion mode. You want to keep that energy plus and enthusiasm plus. Want to keep that energy and enthusiasm throughout the session. Cool. Participate and collaborate, of course, synonymous. And let us all get electrified. What do you mean by electrified? And whenever it comes to the self-motivation, it's like the switch, right? The lights are not waiting for its own time to get it electrified, right? So it just needs a moment, right? So just stay electrified, and we'll start with a simple, energy exercise. It's called an Agile clap. Some of you would have done it in the past in a different mode, right? Assume myself, I'm the product owner, right? Or as a customer, I'm giving you certain requirement. And here we are not looking for the individual output, but as a team output. Get it? I'm going to give a demo. It's called 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's a tune. You don't need to memorize that. And the tune, you're not going to say it out, but you're going to clap it out. All right? I'll give a demo. It's I just say it with a number. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Got it? All right. Ready, set, go. There are always at least 1 or 2 team members always, they will not obey the rules. All right. Here is the deal, right? Till you all get it right, I'm not going to start the session. How about that? And this time, it's not 100% energy, but 200% energy. All right? Ready, set, go. Cool. I'm still going to stick with my rule. All right? Till we get it right. And this time with the 300% energy. When I say 300%, like your complete 100 trillion cells are going to act together. All right.
Sheet music.
Right. Ready, set, go. Awesome. Almost right. We are almost there. Just for the interest of time, I'm not going to test further. Right. We'll just move ahead. Keep up the energy throughout the session, and we're going to, I'm planning, a few other activities to stay engaged in between too. All right, so there's something always, we can learn even from all these exercises, right? What's that one learning we got from this exercise? Anything? Yeah.
There will be 1 or 2 folks always in the team.
And especially, getting that one single coordination is always a challenge, right? To represent ourselves as a team output, and individual output is always easier, right? Because everybody comes with a different background, different expertise and things like that. But bringing everyone together is a challenge, but it's not a difficult challenge, right? We started getting the output, correct? And also, when each of us are giving our 100%, 200%, 300%, the output is always magical, all right? Cool, so here is the brief agenda of what we wanted to discuss. There's nothing going to be new, let me even write and give you, right? All of us are going to discuss certain things, but there will always be certain insights, I made sure that, you'll have some takeaway points. And irrespective of whatever role you are playing, either it could be a scrum master or a coach or a product owner or a team member, whatever, you will always have something to take. We are going to talk a little bit about building the high-performing teams, and we are going to have a little more analogies around, what exactly the high-performing team and how we could really build it in our organization. And it's not just building the team, but building the organizations all together. And let me start, with a simple note. We all are here for some special reason. We, in the sense, not just the group of us, but the professionals like us or the leaders like us, even across the world. So, what could be that one single agenda we all are here for? Any responses? To learn and grow. I like it. Anything further? Any other inputs?
More profit.
To make more profit, more money, cash.
Eventually, that's the end.
All right. Anything else?
To deliver value.
Make a difference. Awesome. To add a value. Perfect. We all are here to make the world better. How many of you agree? One or other ways, we all are here to make our world better, the world around us. It could be the team, it could be the family, it could be the friends, whatever, right? And the world, it just needs one person to energize the entire world. Like it just needs one sun to energize the entire world the same way, it needs one sun to energize our own world. That sun is us, the individual, right? So as an individual, we could really, bring lots and lots of light to our world as well as, to the people around. So we are going to talk about, certain analogy later, and we are going to talk about certain key agile ingredients, how we could use agile, to build that kind of high-performing teams and organizations. We are going to talk about certain W's and H's. So one of my mentors used to say that to learn anything new, if at all, we don't have much time, but we have very little time, but we want to learn a lot, right? It could be for examination or anything. So he used to tell one tool which is called 5 wives and 1 husband. How about that? So all it needs is 5 WH questions like what, when, which, right? What else? And then 1 how questions. If you could just ask that thing, it will just draw the kind of memory map, and then we could just do it. So we are going to cover a little bit around that, and we are going to talk about certain challenges in building high-performing teams and organizations, as well as certain solutions around it. What are certain techniques we could use, right from the retrospective and various other best of the best things what Agile offers to us. And finally, we'll also have the question and answer, right? Cool. So the analogy is the first and foremost analogy which I wanted to discuss with you is I, you, we, and the world. All right. So to build the kind of high-performing teams, it's very important to understand the little bit of foundation around it. The I, the improvement always starts with I. It's always very easy, to pinpoint others and then say that, yeah, the system is not right, or my boss is not right, or my organization is not right, or the process is not right, the politicians are not right, right? The improvement always starts with I. Innovation always starts with I. Inspiration starts with I. Impact starts with I. And improvement always starts with I, right? It's not just the letter I, but the individual, all right? And then the you, as I said, right, the sun, we all can be the sun for our own world, that how we could really inspire our team in making that thing happen. So there's a wise man who said, if you want to be the sun, right, burn like the sun, which means you want to bring so much of fire, energy and spirit with you to empower that kind of energy to your team. And then we are here to energize the entire world. And each of us are kind of engine. It could be like, you could relate it with a kind of aeronautical engine or a train engine or whatever. That engine has its speed, its spirit. It knows the direction where you want to take the entire team or the organization or the community towards, right? And we all can be a kind of volcano, but the human volcano, right? And to keep that kind of spirit always with us, so that as an individual, when we are really keep on strengthening our strength and weakening our weakness, we become powerful, and that power further inspires the team, further inspires the organizations, further inspires the entire world, right? And then you, I look at it as an acronym, which is your opportunities are unlimited. And I really love building my own acronyms. Like when I was working for Humana back in Louisville, Kentucky, so they used to have something like Louisville Gas and Electric, LG and E, so I used to make it myself as learn, grow and excel. And the same way I used to work for the company GE, like I used to have my own acronym as growth engine, right? And growth engine, if you look at the word change, which has the word GE in it, it's nothing but the growth engine. Every change, initially it might look like it's a disturbing factor, but when we really approach it in the right spirit, it's going to bring the kind of growth engine, right? And how we could really make it. And the same way when you look at the word challenge, which has the word change in it, and which has the letter G in it, which is nothing but the growth engine. How, like the challenge, we could make it for our benefit, to make that thing, we could relate it with our agility and the other world, right? So coming back, the third aspect is, we. It's nothing but, the 1 + 1 is always greater than 2, which means the team's output always brings lots and lots of magic. That's why team also is an acronym, which is together everyone achieves more, right? So I would like to replace the last word more into a magic. Together everyone achieves the magic, right? So when we really join with the right spirit, we can really bring that kind of magic. And the human body, what we see, right? So it's not just one body, right? Which has 100 trillion cells, which means like the initial exercise we did, a kind of an agile clap, the coordination exercise. To make the body functions properly, it needs 100 trillion cells to operate in a right way, to sync up with each other and do it. If I shake my hand like this, there are some 100 million cells are acting. Unless it acts together, I cannot do it. I cannot see it. I cannot hear it. I cannot do. So everything has a system of subsystems. And even in our team, we have varieties of personalities. Right? So we have the different kinds of backgrounds, different kinds of diversity. Basically, I would look at it as a diversity. And how we could make it to the benefit of our team success or to the organization's success. That's where the real success comes in, right? So the same way, you and the world, that's how it all starts with the individual, goes as a team, or it could be a group of people, and then group of big constitution or a kind of an institution or an organization, and then grow as a kind of bigger world, right? So I'm not here to give all the philosophical stuff funda, but I believe it's important to give that kind of foundation, which you all might agree, right? Right. So we all can be a kind of book of motivation. What does it mean? Or we can be a kind of if you're a man, you can be a man of electricity. If you're a woman, you're a woman of electricity, where you could really go electrify the team, right? Electrify the environment on especially the change you wanted to bring into the world, all right? So, I just wanted to say this, maybe assume yourself sitting in a classroom, or like me, like a teacher asking you to repeat, right? This is called the kind of 4E leadership, which was again, coined by Jack Welch, which was even part of the value system in the company. How many of you work with G? I mean, maybe I just talk a lot about G. All right, hope you could relate it. So this used to be one of the values, and the energy. The reason I would like to relate it, we have something related to the teaming too. Can you all say what is the first E? Say it with the 200% energy. Energy, right? What is the first E? Energy, cool. So energy is nothing but the individual, right? So each of us come with certain strength, certain uniqueness, certain skill, all right? So how as an individual, I could just strengthen my strength and weaken my weaknesses, where I could keep on becoming better, being better, becoming better, and keep on expanding. Right? I'm really expanding on a day-to-day basis at my work, at my organization, or at my home, or whatever, right? Are we really keeping our learning cycle, continuously going? And that's the first E. And the second E, what's the second E? Energize. Say the energy. Energize, right? So I have the fire with me. I want to just light up the fire, and keep on, go on, ignite the young minds, ignite the power and light within the people around you, right? That's about igniting that power and empowering the team. And then I could get the energy, and I could get the energy, I could energize my team, and then reaching to the level of, what's the third E? Edge. Right? So reaching to the level of edge, which means taking the tough situation at the reaching to the top, which is nothing but never ever stop even at the top, right? So to keep on reaching it, it's not just reaching the success once, but to continue making it as a execution cycle, or as kind of continuous habitual cycle, which is nothing but the fourth E. What's the fourth E? Execute. Cool. I really like the kind of participation. Get involved. You all are agreeing to the working agreement. Cool. So to continue making it as an iterative cycle, to keep on executing, so that together everyone achieves the magics, right? With that, I just want to add two more quick analogies. And each of us are here, every individual, right, with 100% intelligence, which means we come with that kind of capacity. But unfortunately, even people like Einstein or Edison, Thomas Alva Edison, and even they could leverage only 10% of intelligence. I'm also part of another organization called Re-Evaluation Co-Counseling, and I'm one of the certified teachers for that, which is a research-based organization which does about how we could really enhance that more and more unutilized potentials. How you could really jump into the comfort, non-comfort zone and then keep on becoming better, kind of thing, right? And even if people like Edison and Einstein could have only 10% of their intelligence, but if you look at that great person, Edison, for example, right? He has registered 1,097 patents, which means the electric bulb, right? The cinema which you watch, the concrete, cement concrete, whatever we use on a day-to-day basis. And there are many things which you could register. Even that person could leverage only 10% of their intelligence. Which means whenever I see the lights blinking anywhere, it could be the car light or the hall light or whatever, I could see that his eyes are blinking and saying, hey, how are you? Kind of, right? Which means there are persons who have lived the legacy life and who have given something before they leave, right? And how we could really utilize that unutilized potential, right? How we can keep on jumping into the non-comfort zone and then make ourselves better, right? Let me share the one last analogy before we jump into the rest of the presentations. It's a Six Sigma. How many of you have practiced with Six Sigma? Cool. And just for others, just to give a very little introduction about Six Sigma. Of course, it's a big topic I used to train people to. Six Sigma, assume this way, right? So during your school's college times, right, what used to be the pass percentage? So if you have to qualify, right, clear that subject, what used to be the percentage? Maybe
60.
60? Wow, that used to be first class in some other countries. Maybe 40%, 35%, right? Okay, the first class maybe 60%, or the distinction, what could be the percentage if you want to say? 80% as a distinction, right? And how Six Sigma defines? I'll come back to it, right? Assume that you all are the surgeons, right? So you all are empowered, ignited that kind of, complete, you have all the medical history and knowledge with you, and I allow you to go do the surgery, right? There are 100 patients given to you, right? If you want to be the pass mark student, right? All you have to do is just kill 65 people out of 100, right? Or maybe 60 people, right? If you're a first class student, you can kill only up to 40 people, right? If you're a distinction student, it's okay, 20 people can be killed, rest of them can be saved, right? And how Six Sigma defines it? It's 99.9996%, which means almost to the level of the completeness, right? To the perfection or the excellence, right? Each of us are here to provide that kind of Six Sigma quality in our day-to-day work, in whatever activities we do, or whatever we deliver on a day-to-day basis, right? Are we really utilizing that kind of Six Sigma thinking in us, right? So all these are kind of certain analogy I would like to share before as like setting the stage kind. How is it going for so far? All good? All right, cool. So feel free to ask any question. Just a second. All right. Cool. So we'll jump into the team. I think we saw briefly about what makes the team. All right. So team is comprised of a kind of cross-functional. What does it mean? Everybody brings their own unique individual talent and skills, right? And people could just jump in and then support each other. It's not the designation which we carry, right? It's the role we play. The role is completely different from the designation what we come up with, right? So where a leader, that's why the word responsibility is such a very powerful word. It's about our ability to respond to the situation. We are always given numerous situations around us, right? How do we respond to it? What's our ability to respond to it, right? So through our multi-diversified roles, it doesn't need always need the kind of expertise, but all it needs your interest and your involvement in it, and how much you could learn and then do it about it. We'll see it. And then the team coming as a self-organized, right? So So there are multi words which starts with the self, like a self-directed, self-managed, self-organized. So anybody wants to throw your light on how self-organized stands out of those words, being self-directed or self-managed. Self-organized. Maybe I could just quickly show some video. I think I have it here. Self-directed is more of what the individual thinks his or her own way of doing things, right? So we all could have seen in our own team environment that there is someone always there. They want in their own way. Don't care about what team needs, what organization needs, right? And sometimes their own way might work out good in a positive spirit too. But what is important is being a self-organized. That means all of us are aligning ourselves to the needs of the mission of the organization, or mission of the team. All right. So let us look at this video very quickly. You could just see how they self-organize themselves and how they really meet the toughest target which has been given. All these are the ants which are about to build the bridge, right? Connecting the bigger thing. So when you get a chance, you can see it. Assume that all of them are the team members, right? It's a very tough situation that they just wanted to see that, but they couldn't do.
This one got the food made up.
Yes, you got your picture.
You know what? When there are certain tough situations are given, there will be some sacrifices. Things like a layoff or whatever. No, just kidding. So there will be certain, especially even though your intentions are right, the intentions might fail. But you know what? The same person will come back, and when they are coming back, the right bridge is already set. Just for the interest of time, I'll just move it. See, these are the people who really stretch hard and trying to see how they can really do it, right? And there's a proper collaboration happens in between. And they were not trained on Agile or Six Sigma or all other things. Maybe that's the reason they could build it faster. Alright. Just for the interest of time, I'll just fast forward it. So this is just an example of how we could really become self-organized and then finally reach to the level of toughest target what has been given to us. All right. There you go. So it has been met. All right. The same way, I would like to give another quick exercise which you could even try it with your teams. How we could really build the self-organized teams. Right. So one example, we all are coming from different background, different companies, different roles, right? But we are here, right, with the one single mission that to attend and attend the session and do some sort of knowledge sharing, right? So let's see how we all get self-organized, right? So we'll do one quick activity, and the positive thing about this activity is you could close your eyes. How nice, right? After having the pizza in the evening, having the quick nap. We are not going to let you to have that nap. But the thing is, assume that I'm again the product owner coming and giving you certain things. So here, all I need is the output could be the numbers delivered in sequential manner, but it should not come in the sequential order. It should come from anybody, any of you, right? So which means when you say one, you are not saying two, but somebody else says two. And you're not following your neighbors, immediate neighbors, right? It should come in a random delivery manner, all right? All are ready to take a challenge? Okay, close your eyes. Ready, set, go.
1,
2,
Go.
3, 4,
5.
Okay, here is the deal, right? If the same number has been repeated twice or thrice by the persons, then you have to start all over again. All right. It should. All I have to hear is like I'm blind. That all I should hear is different voices, but the sequential number. That's it, right? But then the voices should not collide with each other. Ready, set, go.
1,
2,
3,
4.
All over again.
1,
2,
3, 4, 5, 6,
7,
All over again.
1,
2,
3,
4, 5, 6,
7.
8.
All over again. You know what? I used to do this even with hundreds of people. The numbers, the maximum number, they could go up to even 45, 48 very easily within few minutes. I'm sure you could go, right? We'll give one more try. One last try.
1.
It seems some sort of pre-planning. Okay, ready, go.
1,
2,
3,
All right. Being self-organized needs certain skills, right? So it definitely needs someone to start. So it's great, Jit immediately started. We always need some sort of self-starters to jump into it, right? And then it also needs people to give their own space, others to play the role, right? Sometimes you have to play the role, sometimes you have to let others to play the role, right? Sometimes you want to be the leader in the team, sometimes you want to let others to lead, right? And also without forgetting the purpose behind it, how we could really do it. So the one mission is to reach that kind of team output, but how you all align yourself in providing the kind of right space, and there are always things to learn, right? So anything else you want to share out of this exercise, a quick exercise? What else you could learn, which you could really apply in the team? Maybe how you could do it better, and maybe in a kind of retrospective question. Yeah.
Develop a cadence.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Maybe you all would have done it better. Maybe if I would have given some time for you to discuss among yourself, right? Maybe you would have come up with your own self-organized rules, and then you would have found out something. There would be someone always lead that. Okay, yeah, here are my ideas. How would they doing it, right? There are various ways you could do it, and many times we do not even ask the customer to get it defined properly. We just jump into the solution, right? Like when I said, okay, start, you immediately started. You could even ask the question that, okay, is there anything, we could do it. Always, asking the customer to define the quality rather you define your own quality. And customer is not interested, about your quality because they need the product in their own way, all right? And how we could really deliver what is needed rather what I have it, right? So there are various things, right? So the team always comprised of the cross-functional, being self-organized, being the self-starters, value-driven individuals. It's always the key difference between the traditional approach and the agile approaches. The traditional approach is always plan-driven. Everything is like with the step 1 to 10, and then do it at the end. You deliver it, and by the time you deliver it, it's not needed by the. The requirement is completely different, right? But whereas in Agile, you go by value driven, right? In the first sprint, okay, go deliver some value. In every story has some value delivery. Every task you do within the story has some value to deliver. If you don't have a value delivered, then you don't even need to do it. Always, ask the question back that, am I really delivering that value, right? And then is it really going to make some difference in customers' life, right? That sort of thing. So, set of value-driven individuals united with the kind of goal to produce the high-quality results, not just once, but in a sustainable pace, on a regular basis, right? These are some of the live examples on how the teaming happens, right? And all these happen at the runtime, right? We don't have much time, right, to do it. So of course, champions are always made off-season, which means not on the ground, but to deliver, we have to come on the ground and then just deliver it, right? We don't have much time to do it and things like that. All right. So there are certain, codes which I would like to share, and The teaming is always about losing yourself, but and discovering the teaming part of it, right? Bringing multiple strengths together. How awesome it is, right? Now, I mean, bringing just one strength, where maybe you have only maybe 10% of the entire team's knowledge, but everybody brings that kind of knowledge. For example, in this team, we have around maybe 150 plus years of experience, minimum, bare minimum I'm saying, right? At least 200 years of experience, and they too from a multi-background, multi-diversified, and how we can really keep on enhancing that individual strength, to make that happen. So in the team, a great player always loses themselves, and then come together as a team, all right? And the same way, it's all about playing unselflessly and still believe so that good things will happen. All right. And this is the latest quote of the day, which they put it in today's thing. Everyone has his or her own power, unique power. How we could really, it's our responsibility to find out that power and utilize to the best of the team. All right. How we could really do it. So that we can we always go serve in the people's spirit. And then here is the hero, right, which he says that leader's role is not to control people on staying on top of the things, but rather to guide, energize, and excite. So as a leader, if at all we can do one or two things, is create the excitement, create the kind of empowerment. Believing in team's instinct that the people can really do it, and providing the right skills and things like that, right? And Steve Jobs says that best people don't have to be managed, and there's a clear myth that we have always been told that we are the resources. We are not the resources, right? We are the knowledge workers, right? Resource is something that which can be maybe this mouse can be a resource, or the chair can be a resource, table can be a resource. We come up with lots and lots of knowledge with us, right? We all are the knowledge workers. Once we provide the kind of right vision, once you inject it, they can just go lead the team. That's how we could really build the high performing teams. And to build the high performing teams, we don't need the PhDs, right? You see the kind of teamwork happens even in the animals world, all right? So we saw that how the ants built its own bridge, right? So we all we need is the kind of we want to really stay motivated with the mission, having the kind of big purpose in our life. That what is that purpose? How I could go get it? How I could get my entire team to go achieve that kind of mission? And also, and it's a very important thing. It's not only about being educated. It's also going with the kind of complete value driven. How much of value we really bring, and everybody unites with the kind of value, with the right attitude, right spirit, kind of thing. All right. So would like to share this, especially from the perspective of how everybody, brings the kind of diversity, and then building together. And each of us come from maybe the different race, or different education background, different countries, or different accents. Like I have a different accent than what you speak, and but still, like each of us brings some sort of advantage. Whereas diversity cannot be seen as a weakness, but it's a strength. How we could really leverage that strength and then make things. All right, and many things, whatever we see is a kind of visible, and we want to go beyond. Especially those who want to jump out of the comfort zone, want to go beyond and getting into the invisible things. We don't want to just read the words, but read the line between the words, right? So if someone says something, it's not the word what it is. It's just 7% of the entire communication. But whereas remaining 93% is something else, then which is not visible. All right. These are the different invisible things we wanted to keep on exploring in the team. About their own cognitive abilities, their own ideologies, their own perspectives. Everything is different. Their own interests, their own social cause. You believe it or not, whatever even the hobbies each of us have it. Every hobby even brings it plays a role at our work, because they all complement with each other, right? That brings a kind of different your thinking skills. Everything is kind of elevated by that. And in the team, it's always about all for one and one for all. And every single individual work for the team. The entire team supports that other person. We want to create that kind of mutual trust, mutual bonded kind of environment in the teams. All right. Cross-functional, I don't need to say that. And everybody, it's not always on the designations or just exactly, role in terms of the designation perspective, but it's more by our expertise, more by, what I could do there, and each of us can, play the different roles. In general, especially when the organizations get into Agile, they go in a kind of, their own mode of, okay, a developer being a developer, tester being a tester. And whereas, we want to, the typical agility doesn't really support that, right? It is just the beginning, but if we can start as that and then, getting into a kind of pair programming mode, getting into learning, the other person's work, and it's like, the leader, I think many of you would have already heard that, the typical leadership works this way, right? I do, you watch, and you do, I watch, and then you do, I'll go do something else, right? That's how the typical leadership should follow. And many of us, right, in a typical traditional way, we always want to stick our role. We don't want to really give up, right? And so the agility really brings more and more of challenging ourselves, or that can I really play another role, right? Even being a kind of scrum master, you act as a coach to your own team, right? Maybe in the typical scrum world, they don't call it. Scrum is just maybe 40 to 45% of the entire agile. That agile brings lots and lots of anything and everything which works. You could use it in Agile, right? And there are lots and lots of things, maybe I'll cover it in the later sense. What I mean is, like, we want to bring a kind of, cross-functional team. It's not individual has their own strength, but everybody is empowered to enhance their strength and then go do it, right? So these are some of the key success factors. We want to build a kind of self-organizing and, more importantly, honest. When I say honest or the kind of integrity, the same mentor used to tell me that honesty or integrity is like pregnancy, right? It's not like I'm almost pregnant. Either you are pregnant or no pregnant. There's nothing called almost pregnant, right? So either be it or be not, right? So honesty is something like that. It's not that almost there kind of thing, right? And about cross-functional, we saw that each of us are kind of being self-motivated and also being motivating every other, and then being co-located, focus on value delivery, having a kind of lean thinking. Lean also to give a kind of very quick crash course on the lean. How many of you have practiced lean, or you're doing it? Cool. Lean is something, nothing other than making a statue out of a stone. You are given a stone, and then all you do is making a statue. Statue also is a very simple process. What you do was taking the things which is not needed. Very simple. Eliminating the waste. The more and more we focus on what I am not, and keep on eliminating it, will make you as what you are, right? So how we can really keep on identifying, keeping an eye on our process, so that what is not needed, keep on focusing on that in our day-to-day work, at our day-to-day, even the way we manage our own to-do list, our own personal to-do list, at our team's to-do list, or our planning. Everywhere, keep an eye of how I can eliminate the waste, so that I can get the statue out of it, right? And more importantly, have fun. That's very, very important. So it's not always about going with Agile, but growing with Agile. We'll just see how it is, right? And integrity, we saw that it's always Boolean value. It's either be it or be not, right? And we want to build the kind of ingredients as a self-starters. We want to build the kind of self-starter rather a push starter. And each of us can be the kind of self-starter. And we want to build the environment where people are really helpful. They go help others, so that it's not some sort of offering. It is the role, what we do. We want to help each other so that we grow, we get into the skill, and we develop ourselves, right? And it's about completely passionate, right? Passionate plus. How the more and more we could inject this kind of passion with our team, it should really be a fuel, right, to create the kind of change we wanted to do it. And one other thing which I want to say is that there's a myth between positivity, and people say it's not about lie about being positive. Yes, I am strong. Yes, Sam. But being realistic also is important. But being positive is important. More importantly, I would say possibility. It's not about positive thinking, but possibility thinking. Are we really injecting that kind of possibility thinking in the team so that they could really go do what? I mean, yeah. Let me take the challenge. Yeah.
Just was wondering about your thoughts about a lot of people that are that are drawn to systems work.
Mm-hmm.
Some are in that introverted spectrum.
Correct.
So what do you say about them with respect to these values?
Perfect. Yeah. So many of them are introvert. One thing which we wanted to build in, which I also see it myself, as my personal value, that to live a life of no guilt, no fear, no limit. So we want to bring that kind of culture within the team, that to have that kind of no fear, and where they could really express anything openly. And it's not just about the personality type, about being introvert. And the most of the time the introvert have a lot to offer, a lot to do, right? And we want to create the kind of safe environment. Maybe we'll see in the future slides also. But to give in a very nutshell, we want to build that kind of individual coaching with that person to keep valuing. It's like let everyone race, but no one left behind. With the kind of concept, we want every thought valuable. We want to create the kind of environment. Sometimes we could even make the introvert person to lead your daily stand-up, to lead a retro, right? To come up with, I used to do it, with my team, that maybe to let someone else to lead that. And the more and more exposure we give to that person, he slowly comes out of the comfort zone. And we want to find such, we don't need to give a very big challenging work, it's like even small wins is a big success. The more and more we do it. I think that's the answer to your question. But we'll see, there are different techniques on how we could get those thoughts. Alright, we saw about self-organizing, we saw about participative, where no one is afraid to share the ideas. I think we live in a world that people are afraid of how others think. And always giving more focus on how others think, kind of thing. At least in the team environment, we want to break it, and that's why we as the agile leaders, we are here to make that world better. How we can really break that kind of thing, and to have it, the two things which are very important in any relationship. It can be personal, professional, social, and to have that kind of mutual trust and mutual respect. When that is lost, everything is lost. We want to create that kind of mutual trust, mutual respect with each other, so that they are not afraid about sharing things. Once the trust is built, that bonding automatically is being built. And always willing to learn, grow, and explore, right? Alright, we saw this before already. So it's about energizing the entire, to bring that kind of persuade and possibility thinking, right, in the team, to stay self-organized. Alright, so this is more from Scrum perspective of Agile, right? So Scrum believes in these core values about, these are the foundations about having the commitment, building the mutual commitment with the team, having the kind of focus, having the openness, transparency. We don't want to hide anything under the carpet. We want to take it out and then show the mess to the team, and then everybody jumping together and clear it, rather asking the question about who made the mess. Rather, we could ask how that mess was made, so that we don't need to do it. And it's always about focusing on the process, not on the person. Always asking the question about, okay, is there a different way of doing things? Rather, okay, why he always does it? And it's about how we can really enhance his part of thinking also. So there's a good book, many of you would have read it. It's called Strength Finder 2.0. So I would recommend to go read it. And one of my previous organizations, they made every employee trained by that. They were given the free book and training, where all it does is identifying the individual strength. And everybody has their individual unique strength. And the more you identify it, all you have to do is just keep on strengthening your strength. You don't need to focus about your weakness. Many times, we always our focus is on the weakness. Rather, focusing on the strength, which will always bring that kind of thing. And to bring the kind of courage, respect, openness, so that to build a kind of high, strong team, and which will definitely reap up all these benefits with all these basic qualities behind it. So that's how we could really build the kind of high performing teams. Just for the sake of time, otherwise I used to do it as an activity where each of you could just build it and how we could really get it. For the time's sake, I'll just. All right. So we saw certain, the foundations of the team and building the kind of high performance, individual, high performing teams and organizations, how we can do it. All right. So I won't spend much time here because all of you come with some agile experience, and it works with the basic principles of 4 core values and 12 principles. All right. So we always want to keep it as a reference before we move forward. For example, maybe at least 3 things I would say which are very important to take away from here. It's like, how do you really measure the success of Agile? Any responses? If you want to measure how agility happens in your organization, how do you measure? If you want to say one thing.
What's the key indicator?
Working software.
Yeah. How do you measure that Agile works in your organization?
We are providing the
Team
software
app.
that the customer needs.
Exactly. The working software. This is the very
Software
core
is the
thing.
primary measure.
Yeah, that's the primary measure. Cool. And few other things about how empowering team you have it, how much of transparency you have it, how much they learn at a regular intervals of retrospecting with each other, how we give more focus on the interactions, people, and providing their values rather on the processes just for the sake of doing things. And we want to come away from such myth of doing things for the sake of doing things, or doing things just because someone has told to do, right? And maybe someone has told to do, but something works. But if things doesn't work, we can just break it. We'll look at it in the future slides, right? So agility, right? It's all about a kind of mindset. So the mindset, when you say that, right, it is about coming up with a kind of established set of attitudes, your habits, and on how you get things done, right? It's more with a kind of, it's more than the skills, more of attitude, all right? How we could really have that kind of mindset. And it's all about as I said in the beginning, it's all about the expansion. How I really I start with having it as a kind of important foundation, as a mindset, but how I really grow with that, right? Like we saw those 4 values in the previous slide and guided by 12 principles, and we don't want to just stick with that, right? We want to keep them as the kind of base, but we want to keep exploring other things. As I said, Scrum is just a little bit of the entire Agile, right? So there is something called extreme programming, pair programming. There's something called test-driven development, behavior-driven development. Now we could just explore into the world of many agility which happens, and we learned many of these agile practices came from the manufacturing and other environments. I used to work in GE aircraft engines that time, and there are many things where which we used to use in the typical aero engine development kind of practices. They brought it, like for example, GE leveraged that Six Sigma process from Motorola, right? I mean, Motorola is completely a totally different kind of company, and GE it says that either be number 1 or number 2, otherwise close down the business, do something else. That's sort of aggressiveness they have it. How they could really learn from the company which produces mobiles or the kind of networks and things like that, right? So there are always about how you keep on enhancing that. You can even come up with your own agile process. Agile welcomes and hugs and embraces you to go try something new, always, right? It's all about being and becoming, right? And how we really keep on establishing that kind of learning, growing, exploring attitude, all right? And as the leader, about are we really growing with Agile or going with Agile? And this is one such thing, which is I'm sure all of you would have seen this. Raise your hand in case if you have not seen it before, so that we can give a very quick. All right. So this is nothing but the team development stages, given by Dr. Bruce Duckman, and every team, whenever we join together and we come up with some sort of little agreement, coming up with a working agreement, making a clear purpose on what exactly we do, and setting our own ground rules on how it will be a guiding rule, right? And then the fun starts, getting into the storming stage. And if you do not have any conflict in your team, that means you're not going anywhere, right? Or you are lying, right? Conflicts are good when it comes with a kind of proper open dialogues and ready to understand others' perspectives rather being too pushy of my own thoughts and approaches things. And those conflict, how the more and more conflict we have, the better and better clarity we can get. But to create the kind of environment, as the agile leader, we can really go and then grow by understanding the team's needs and modes, and then pains and pleasures. Understand the pains, jump into the pains and see that how I could do it differently, right? Understand the needs and modes and how we can really do it, right? So that's about storming stage, and then getting into the norming stage where you all become slowly self-organized. But the core key important thing is about how you really make your team into a kind of performing stage, right? Where it's all completely vision-driven thing. And in case if your team is still not here, maybe go look back your working agreement. Start from there, right? And set your own clear vision, mission on how you want your team to build that kind of vision. So one tool I can just say, which I used to try, is called you can build the retrospective techniques or agile implementation things right on the fly. And many things, maybe, for example, the quote which you all already know, we will be known forever by the tracks we leave behind. Toyota, right? So either we will be known to live a legacy life, we will be known forever by the tracks we leave behind. Either we leave the tracks or cracks, which we need to fix, right? So ask your team that what are the tracks we want to leave behind, how we can be the role model team for the entire organization. And if you want to be the role model team, each of us want to be the role model person, and how we can really inject that kind of thinking, and then build the kind of vision and purpose, and then focus on the kind of goals achievement and go for it kind of thing, right? Yeah, since some of you are not as raised your hand, I just wanted to show the previous one. All right. Cool. So to learn anything new, right? So this Shuhari is a very popular manufacturing practice, right? It's a kind of karate practice in based out of Japan. So I would encourage, if in case if you are not used, just go Google it or YouTube it. You will get lots of good material. And everything starts with a kind of shoe, right? Shoe is nothing but somebody has given the rule. Right? Before you jump into Agile, you will not know what is Agile. You may not know all the terminologies. Just go simply do what they say, right? In the kind of a typical Scrum framework. It can be a very starting framework. And it's just a myth that, as I said before, Scrum is not only Agile, right? It's just a little portion of it. And be a kind of budding and emerging team, they can just go follow the rules, whatever is given, right? But the next stage is Ha. Ha is nothing but break the rule and innovate something new, right? That's what we are here for. And being the agile team, it gives the it empowers you to keep breaking the rule and then innovate something new, and how we could really, and that's how the proficient teams really comes. That's how they build their own skills. They break all the old rules and introduce new things so that we can learn something. That's how. Till this point, if you see, you are just borrowing someone else's knowledge. But here, you as a team coming together and set your own rule, all right? And then the third, re is nothing but, be the rule and transcend them, right? So make Agile as a second nature, which means, like, people just come see the way you operate, the way you speak, the way you work, get inspired. Then they go start with the show, right? And then keep on building on top of it. That's how everything has started, right? So though Edison found his initial electric bulb in a very small manner, right? But these days we see the kind of Himalayan, the huge change in it, right? The way the cinema was found earlier, the kind of cinema we watch now is completely different. That means someone always be in the level of Ha and Re. They were not satisfied with the kind of shoe, right? It's about, keep on learning and keep on breaking your own rules and then keep moving. Is it going good? All good? Okay. You are all here mentally, physically? All right, cool. All right. Otherwise, I can do some activity, quick activity. Okay, we'll do one quick activity, right? So, now, this activity is called small story, big story, right? So, all of you are just, going to show something, right? I'm going to say small story, big story, all right? All of you can do, yeah, get ready. Small story, everybody. As I said, everybody participates. Small story, big story. Okay, now say what I do. No, do what I say, not what I do. All right? Do what I say, not what I do. Small story, big story, big story, small story. But you have to look at me. I know you're small. Small story, big story, big story, small story. Yeah, cool. Your attention level is here. All right. Sugari, how we could really leverage in our day-to-day environment is this, right? So it starts with a kind of, initially as a customer focused. Of course, we all are customer focused, right? This is really good. It's not that this is bad, right? This is the starting point. Don't be completely satisfied with that, right? Like hiring the right people, engaging the business people. We all do that. Deliver regularly and welcome the changes, measure output. All these are good, right? And we are still self-organized team. But we wanted to get into the level, next level is nothing but staying completely focused, embracing the change, not just, going with, oh my God, another change came, for my development and things like that. And talk mind to mind, motivate the people. This is really good, but we don't want to just go satisfied with that, right? And re is nothing but, delight the customer, not just, face communicate with them. It's about, go seek the changes. Is there a different way of doing the things? How I can deliver continuously, not just regularly, once in a while or frequently kind of thing. It's about, getting into the Six Sigma way, right? So making my 99.9996% of people operated well, right? And trust them, talk heart to heart. More importantly, see what it says. It's a little scary. Remove the management. Company retrospective. What it means is, it's not about removing the people, it's about removing the bureaucracy, right? It's about removing the kind of having someone else to dictate what I have to do. It's about I know what we do, or we know what we do. It's not about I also, it's about we, right? So that's the level. So we want to transform to build the kind of high-performing teams. We want to transform from the individual thinking to the system thinking and to the team thinking. If at all I want to think something, I'll always keep my team in my mind. That sort of attitude we wanted to bring it to the team. All right. Cool. So how many of you have seen this before? Okay, many of you. Cool. And then let me not spend much time here. And as we saw before, right, the measure of agile success is about shippable, working software, where customer can just go use it, right? So sprint after sprint or cycle after cycle, if you are using the Kanban, and it's about, the traditional approach used to work like this. I won't say it's not bad, right? So somewhere we have to start, right? And it's about making it better, and then keep on delivering it. By the time of fourth year only, you can deliver one car, right? And the customer doesn't have any idea. Look at the delight, how it is, right? Whereas we want to create the kind of delight with the customer, and by keep on producing some value where they can just use it. It's this can be perceived in a total different ways too. But one right way to look at this particular picture is about how I delight my customer, more importantly, how I make it shippable, right? How they can just go use it, right? So when it comes like this, then the customer can easily give the feedback. Okay, this is good, this takes me from place A to place B, but I need some sort of direction so that others will not hit me, right? Give me some flag. Or this is good, but I cannot really go faster. Maybe I need something to pedal so that I can go a little faster or a little far place. And this speed is not enough. This power is not enough. I want more, right? And you can keep on evolving it, all right? So Cool. So this might look like a little bit of fundamental, as I said in the beginning, right? It's more about getting into that kind of thinking on how we can keep on delivering things, right? And as like in any team, right? So we this is another popular book which I highly recommend about understanding the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and by Patrick, and he comes up with these 5 key things where you can see the team is getting dysfunction, and just be watchful about which level your team is under, or few of the team members are under, right? One example I can say about commitment, right? So commitment, if I say just define commitment, I will say the definition is commitment is a commitment for a commitment, right? Which means you as a team member maybe commit to your maybe your own small department, and then your department commits on your behalf for the organization commits on behalf of the entire. I mean, it's a big chain all by itself, right? And when that basic level of lack of commitment is there, then that chain is broken there itself. It can be at the base level, it can be at the leadership level, it can be at the influential level, anywhere, right? And how we can really bring that kind of commitment. So based on whatever ingredient we saw before, we want to bring all those ingredients. Being fearless, making ourselves completely accountable, keep on paying attention to what result, things like that. It's not always about doing agile. This is good, and many of us are under this category, but we want to get into the thinking of being agile, all right? As I said, it's more of a mindset and a culture, and bringing the cultural change is not always easy, and it takes lots and lots of efforts. All right, so this is just an example of how the high-performing organizations are different from the traditional organizations, right? So how much they are completely customer-focused rather internally focused, how much they get into a level of maybe their own individual development rather just focusing on one skill, whatever I'm going to do. It's about looking at the employees as a partners. As I said before, it's as a knowledge worker or as a partner rather just as a person who gets paid or gets delivered, things like that, right? All right. So there are certain DNAs, especially the agile DNAs, we wanted to build right within the team, and it goes in a kind of enhancing the knowledge, enhancing the influence across the team and organization, creating the kind of leadership level thing on the skills, right? And the major influencers are definitely the top rated person is the people, right? And we want to really always influence through the people, not always by the process to start with, all right? And then providing the right tools and automation, keep on innovating, keep on improvising it, right? And then the agile maturity level perspective, creating the kind of right alignment. Actually, it goes from the other way, right? It comes with the transparency. How much we want to build that kind of transparency in the agile teams, and creating the predictability so that you would be able to foresee the things, what is coming up, how you could do it, and then getting to the quality, finally high performing, and then aligning with the nature, aligning with the customer, aligning with the thing, right? And this is some of the organizational level thing we wanted to say. We want to provide a very safe environment to everybody to share any feedback. I think the organizations not always work in that way, right? But we want to create a kind of safe environment. We'll see some of in the future slides, the other slides too. And we want to empower the teams to solve their own problems. We don't want to just go sponsor the solutions. We want to create the empowerment. It's like it's not setting the fire on people, but what is that? Igniting the fire in people, right? Creating the fire in people, not setting the fire on people, right? How we can really create that so that they can solve their own problems, they are confident, they are trustworthy in doing it. And then organization, we want to create a kind of open to feedback. Anything and everything, people can just openly share, and also something doing about it, right? And to create the kind of regular coaching support. The cultural change will not happen just by having a kind of classroom and giving the fund up. It works more by go interact with the team members, person, the leadership, It's all about going, interacting, understanding their pains and pleasures, and giving the kind of right thing. It's not about you go give your prescription, but coming up with their own prescription. Once they know what it's something like the spectacles, right? And just because I get some good vision by wearing the specs, I cannot guarantee the same specs can fit for everybody, right? So everybody has to find their own, and it depends on their own thing, right? So that's what we wanted to influence in it. And these are some of the coaching related aspects of empowerment. So how we could do it. So as a leader, I can be a good facilitator, and many times these roles have been seen more as a facilitator role, right, as agile leader. But we want to come out of it, getting into the kind of teaching mode, getting into the mentor, wearing the multiple hats, and bringing even the kind of business mastery, technical mastery, and transformational mastery. I'm not there yet, but still, we can always, keep enhancing our level, to reach to that level, all right, to continue learning. All right. So this is one of the interesting slides, I wanted to say. If at all you can make that kind of positive change through Agile, retrospective is such a powerful tool, right? How many of you agree that your organization, you have team or your leadership is still falling under this category, right? They say no, thanks, right? We are too busy. And there are always life offers two things to us, right? At a personal level or a professional, social level, about working on strategic thing and operational. We are too busy working on our operational, taking care of day-to-day things, but are we really working on our strategy? Calling our inner patient or the inner call, responding to the inner call, that what I am here for, what I wanted to do, how we can really make that kind of positive change to the thousands of people, right? So whenever I go to India, I'm just giving an example. I made sure that I want to meet at least 1,000 students, minimum, bare minimum. It could be just a week-long thing, but I want to just go share some knowledge, share that spirit. Is there something I can do? I think that the art of living is always in the art of giving, by leveraging our skills and talent. As an individual, how we can leverage our talent and time, making useful for somebody else, right? So to make that thing, we want to have that kind of innovative hat with us, right? To using the retrospective as a powerful tool to build the high-performing teams. And even currently also I have challenge, right? Not many of my team members or my Scrum teams are okay with improving themselves, right? And how I can really tell them that it needs the circle, not the square. It needs the wheel, not the object, right? Then you guys are stuck, right? And how we can really travel along with them. And one primary thing is, I think many of you have seen this, many of you have not seen this prime directive. For any retrospective, I would suggest, if you have not tried it in the past, use this as the first slide for the team, so that let them come out of the blaming mode, let them come out of the guilt mode, because those two things always makes them to be afraid about getting the change, right? And even the organization I was talking about, the re-evaluation co-counseling, rc.org, you may check it, I am part of it. So, which believes in one thing, that every individual taking the entire situation into account, right? We have done our best possible in that particular scenario. You all agree to it? So that will completely get us out of the guilt kind of mode. The same way, pinpointing thing. So here it goes with the aspect that we discover, regardless of whatever happens, right? So that everybody has done their best. Having the kind of we don't want to assume things. If at all we want to assume that things are done with a positive instinct, that things are really done. And when the trust breaks, because people assume things, right? So people assume always, most of the time, negative things, that okay, yeah, he is always there to trouble me, or she is always there to trouble me, or whatever, right? Or my manager asks the question because he is doubtful on me, or we create our own self-doubts, right? We want to come out of such things and then create the kind of nature. So as this cartoon says, I'm glad that the whole is not in our end. They don't know by when it will hit, right? That means they have their individual thinking, not the system thinking, right? We want to create the kind of system thinking through building the high performing teams. about, I just purposely put it to repeat that, many times people say that, yeah, we are already performing. We have been there, we have been using Agile for several years or at least a year, and we don't need to improvement. We always improve it, People have that kind of thinking, and how we can really, break that thing, how they can really, never ever stop even at the top. Even high performing teams need to improve much more than even the team which has just got into, right? Because they know their strength, they know their weaknesses. And the biggest impediment to our future is always about our past success. How we can really surpass our past success. Many times if I learn something, if I got some certification, I don't want to be satisfied with that. How I can really keep on learning more, how I can really keep that thirst more, so that I can become more, I can do more, I can really make the change in people's life, kind of thing, right? And how we can, as an organization, we can always grow, right? So that's why, even for Kaizen spirit, which is nothing but the changing for better, right? To have that kind of continuous improvement thinking, that spirit we want to keep it alive in the teams, so that we can be the role model for the rest of the teams or organizations. So many times people, I don't want to spend a lot of time here because many of you would experience it, right? People don't want to do the retro. How many of you raise your hand if your team doesn't like retro? Right? Or doesn't like the same way of doing the kind of simple boring 4 blockers kind of thing, right? So team always has, we all have the challenge. Even as a team members, when we are there, we don't. Even we get tired of doing certain things over and over and again, right? So that's because either they say most of them are the reasons, right? More than the actuals, right? They say they don't find time. So when we give the priority for the Kaizen spirit, we always find time. And the retrospective doesn't need to happen always at the end of the sprint or end of your Kaizen, Kanban cycle, right? But it can happen even on your daily stand-up. And many times, where we can learn, we can do different, maybe I'll share some of the tools and techniques, what we used to do. So team lacks knowledge around best practices. And these are some of the things, retrospectives are dull, boring, or, it cannot solve, and, we find something, but we don't follow that, all such things may happen. And many times retrospectives, especially in the beginners teams, it's all focused on the negatives, what is not working. It's very quite common, right? In the whiteboard, when I put some black dot, you'll always see the black dot, right? Because that's the nature. And how we can really come out of it, how we can start seeing the positive and possibility thinking, right? And this is the kind of key takeaway from this slide, I would say. So we want to create, build a kind of safe and trustworthy environment, so that they don't have fear, they are just completely honest and sharing what is important, right? The benefits of retrospective here also, I don't want to spend much time, but there are lots and lots of benefits when we really bring the kind of Kaizen spirit in the team, about identifying the risk very early in the stage, so that we'll be able to mitigate well. We all improve as a team. We all create more and more trust, because more and more we share. All we can do is just even sometimes the team members, it doesn't mean that just always talk about work. Sometimes take them out, hijack them from the prison of 4 walls, and then take them out and talk to them. Talk about their kids, talk about something outside the work. All those create some sort of bonding, right? And that creates more trust. The very simple rule, right? And so anybody who shares their personal story to you, they become close without knowing to them, right? And it's not about getting into the personal life of somebody else. It's more about bringing that kind of bonding. How we can really bring it. So someone is interested in the sports, talk about sports with that person, and things like that. And it improves the team communication. We are able to predict any kind of estimate better. We are able to come out of all the conflicts, that the impediments is cleared. All this, right? There are always lots of benefits. And how we can, as the leader, agile leader, right, practicing leader, how we can really create some sort of watch list in the team. So these are some of my thoughts that how we could do it. First and foremost, we have to define. So as the team, we wanted to define that, what team, tell me, what do you mean as a high performing thing? Let us come up with our own definition, not the bookish knowledge, not what our leadership says. You tell, based on your thing, that what we wanted to do, and then keep elevating that, right? And then ask that kind of powerful questioning. It's about your how kind of question or why questions, right? Not what and when, not a kind of straightforward thing, right? Which will really move your clients, your teams forward, keep them always thinking forward, right? And to build a kind of never stop improving, right? Always the success is not the destination, but it's a journey. And to build a kind of high, continuous personal improvement, continuous process improvement, or the continuous team improvement. And strategies to deal with the different types of teams. So not that every team likes the games, not that every team likes theory, not every team likes going out. So there are, and even not team members too, there will be certain influence in your team, two types of influencers, positive influence or negative influencers. First of all, find out the negative influencers, because they influence more about even redirecting the entire team spirit towards the negativity, right? And identify the positive spirit person. If you want to bring any kind of change, persuade through that kind of positive spirit person. Make it as if you want to bring any kind of change, say that we will do some sort of POC so that we'll see how it works. Okay, we'll try it for a sprint and then see how it goes and then do again something like that. So influence and enhance your agility through the person with the possibility thinking, right? Coach them how they can be self-organized. Even without you, they can do the daily stand-up. Never be afraid of it. Once you build it, as I said, just you could go coach the entire teams or even entire organizations. With my own experience, I could share. And bring the kind of collective ownership, not just on the deliverables, results, also on the issues, right? If something goes wrong, yes, we did it. If something went good, yes, we did it, right? And it's not about pinpointing, always focusing on what is important. So these are some of the retro techniques. So some of them, many of them are available in the net. Some of them which I just put together, categorized, and some of them I came up with my own. For example, this 5 wives, one husband, also you can do a retro around it. Sometimes you watch a movie, you can do a retro about it, right? You watched a movie, you always find the villains and the heroes and some characters, and then I can do that, within your sprint, what happened in the last sprint, or maybe what are the heroes. Or certain thing like, if you don't have much time, ask them to list out top 3, bottom 3 kind of thing. And ask them to come up with 1 plus 1 minus in each story or in each product. And sometimes people don't talk, like your example you gave, and how we can really make them to talk. Maybe do something like kind of icebreaker where maybe I'll just share a few examples. For example, this is a kind of quick icebreakers you can do within the team. Like one word. Tell in one word, how was the previous sprint. They'll just say, telling one word is not a difficult thing. Saying a sentence may be a difficult thing. Ask them to come up with, and then go through it, get into deeper of it, maybe if he says pathetic, find out what makes them, pathetic, right? Things like that. And then ask them, one word about the retro, what they wanted to get out of it, right? Make them to define their own agenda, rather being so pushy. Sometimes we need, especially for the beginner teams, but sometimes we the more and more we build the kind of self-organized, we want them to derive the thing, and then focus on how I can get it, and what's on your mind, and miles per hour. So tell me how much it is. Then depends on it, right? Someone says 10 miles per hour, someone will say 100 miles per hour. What makes the huge variance and difference? Then jump into it and then do it. So there are various tools. So depends on your nature and need, you can do a kind of thing. For example, if there are some problem solving related retro you wanted to do, try the 5 whys, right? I think many of you know, right? By asking 5 whys. Go ask your wife 5 whys. No, I'm just kidding. And it's a great tool, especially to get into the root cause of the analysis. If you want to get into the root cause of the problem, we can definitely ask wives for sure, and husbands too. So there's a fishbone diagram, and there are various tools available. Okay. One other thing, which I tried with my previous team is called a Nico tool. It's like a happiness matrix. I think many of you would have tried it too. And we want, similar to making the working software as a winning success for the Agile, making the happier team also is a winning success for Agile, right? That's also a bigger measure. And we want to just all have to do is my team members, they will just come say that, okay, how do they feel every day? And then say why they feel so, right? Maybe the weather is not good, or the production went good, or oh my God, I'm out of that sprint, a hard sprint, now I am learning something new, whatever, right? Makes them happy. And then getting into the root of it, and then keep measuring it, how they are doing it, right? Make your team to select their own things. For example, this is an example of multi-voting for selecting the team names, and ask them to come up with their own working agreement where you be a facilitator. Of course, you can influence in the thinking, but don't create the content for them. Let them create the content so that their belongingness is there, their inclusiveness is there. And one of the important leadership aspect is about the inclusive leadership or coexistence leadership. It's not always about I want money in my way. Let my way also be there, let your way also be there, let his way be there, let her way be there. But how we can leverage our strength and still grow, right? And that's the kind of coexistence leadership we wanted to bring in. And this is an example of how we can hijack the team, right? And this is one of the retros, outdoor retros, which I did, taking the team out, sit, then talk about it. They're all completely fresh, completely. Even the person who is introvert and who is a natural lover, he can just talk. It can happen. And find out that kind of individual thing, and then do something like the 6-hat thinking. Any of you have tried this retrospective? So you could try that. It's a great book. Other book you can read it. It's a 6-hat thinking. It's nothing but getting yourself into someone else's shoes and thinking yourself as a CEO. You look at only from all your aspects. You'll come only as a CEO, and looking yourself as a developer or a tester. And so that you'll get into their pains and pleasures, and then you'll accordingly find the solutions, right? And this is a kind of movie watching, and all the retrospective start with some sort of good spirit of appreciation, and do some sort of games or do some something, anything and everything, which will make it creative. And I make sure that I do not repeat the same theme in my retros. So every time, just changing it, so that I also learn something new, rather than making it boring. And we don't have much time, I think. Otherwise, I would suggest, maybe watch this YouTube. It's just a 8 minutes thing. I don't know if you have time. I can, at the end of question and answer, I can play that. And appreciation is so very important. It's not just the lie appreciation. And we don't want to be nice to the people, but we want to be the honest, providing the kind of right thing. And many times, everybody brings their complete. We want to go with a kind of right assumption that they bring the positive instinct. They do that positive instinct. Everybody brings that skill. Everybody brings some sort of thing. And how we can leverage is up to the leaders, and how we can mix and match so that to get the best out of the people, right? And everybody's deepest need is also about feeling appreciated for what they are at. Not about the life appreciations, right? Sometimes I even made my team members, to handshake, give a hug, and to really make it really heartfelt kind of appreciation, right? Once the trust is built, it will always happen. And everybody has that kind of fire within us, right? It's about igniting that fire, right? And if we can really see it, fuel it, channel it, it can really create such a big flame. You all agree? That flame can really make the world much more brighter than what it used to be, right? And that's what the thing we want to see, right? So if not you, who? If not here, where? If not now, when? If you want to really bring that change, right? So with that, I would like to conclude it. It's not always about doing Agile, but it's about being Agile, right? So open for questions. I know there are lots and lots of fundas and lots of practical tools and techniques and things. Some of them would be doing it, some of them kind of challenges. We can talk about challenges and solutions or any questions from any other slide.
So when
Yeah.
you say cross-functional team, means all the skill set to deliver is within the team,
Exactly,
right?
right?
Or you mean to say that everyone is capable of doing everything?
It starts with the first point what you said, that's the starter, and where everybody brings their own skill, individual skill, so that we will bring all the ingredients together to make that, to cook something better, right? But the stages after, the more and more self-organized cross-functional teams becomes multi-skilled. And when my testers go on a vacation, 2 weeks vacation, and we don't want that work to stop, right? Where they also learn, it's not about not to be seen as a weakness or not to be seen as a threat, fear, to jump into something else. But it's more about even like, I can be the product owner sometimes in some of the sprint days. I can be my manager for some of the days. I can play that role. I can do the retrospective even though I am a tester and things like that. To bring that kind of multiple aspects of it, that's just the kind of second stage. Great question.
I would like to say this too. I've worked for a company in the past which they didn't have testers. Everybody was a developer. Initially, they would hire developers and testers, but then what happened was over time and just within a few months time frame, everybody had developed the skill set so that they could write tests as well. And so what was happening over there was the person who was working on user story would write a unit test. It would be a TDD environment, but that same person is writing acceptance tests as well as unit tests, even regression tests, and then writing production code as well. And so now you don't have a tester role or you don't have a developer role. Everybody is a developer doing the entire stack of development.
Exactly.
That's how ideally Agile should be, right? There are no designations or roles within the team.
Correct. And
But
there are
still-
many teams, many
But
organizations
still
where I have
we see in the
worked.
organization, teams do have, like they have automation tester or tester
Right.
specifically.
That means
such as-
they are in the shoes, in the shuhari, right? So they just follow the rules, right? And how we can really break the rules and innovate ourselves and then getting into the next level. Because it also brings, lots of, because we have to deal with the personalities, we have to deal with the persons at the end, people, right? And people bring lots of fear in, or lots of closed thinking, they're not open enough, to jump into some non-comfort zone and then try something. But the more and more we try, and how many of you know about mob programming? So so mob programming is something that it's not 2% pairing it, the entire thing pairs it. Where the screen is open and you give your code, and everybody brings their best or the best thing so that it will make it the best, right? And the companies like Apple or the companies like Walmart, for example, they use Agile in a way that because they have to deliver, they have to send their app every week or every 2 weeks. It cannot wait, right? It's like their final product, or Amazon, right? So where everybody brings in and good question. Any other?
Well, just to comment along those lines. So what are your thoughts about just in different cultures? Like you have a high energy. I think I picked from your accent. You're from New Jersey.
Oh, I'm right here in London.
But some people come from culture where being very polite is very focused on. So sometimes in trying to get them going, you're working against an ingrained tendency.
Right.
So I don't know what your thoughts were in terms of
The diversity.
our role in terms of working against that, because it's almost.
Maybe if you can summarize so that I'll get the exact.
Well, you had a list of things like some people don't like to participate in the red zones.
Right.
But I don't think it's so much they don't like to participate. I think it's
Correct.
It's there's a concern that if I speak up, I might offend someone.
That's right.
Or it's just where people put that line of being polite.
Very true, very true. And it's not always about being nice, but being right. There's a huge difference. And the whole world, we see the people who wants to be nice, but at the back, they're not nice, right? And being right needs some sort of courage and openness, the trust and the bonding and everything. and the individuals cannot do it because they have their own stuff, their own patterns to work on. But as the leader, we see at least a few levels above, and we see that thing. We wanna give that space. We wanna make others to understand. See, there are lots of challenges, right? One example I can say that in a company which has the contractors and full timers, the full timers have little high on them, right? And even though the role is a little lower, and you as the agile leader or a coach, you come up, but still, you cannot express it. It's not that you cannot express it. That means maybe either the organization has not opened up that kind of feedback mechanism, or where you cannot go talk to the leadership about bringing that kind of change. There are lots and lots of aspects because it's all multi-dimensional. It's not single-dimensional. Yeah. But whereas when all that's why Agile believes in kind of building through a simple small teams, delivering more frequently and getting more and more feedback regularly, right? All those matters because when we deal with more and more people, it's like n into n minus 1 by 2, right? There are more and more complexities. It's so easy to work directly with one person, right? It's so easy to work with a small group of individuals. I cannot work with the entire organization where we don't know how everybody thinks, how I can really communicate my vision to them. There are various things. That's why we believe in the small chunk, making it regular, fail faster so that I can learn, and do more and more coaching, and be open to learn, open to grow, right? That's the environment I want to bring. Great
I have to cut it off, but
Sure.
feel free to stick around and talk. There's, I can stay here as
Sounds
long
good,
as you
yeah.
guys want to. But thank you, Manandan.
Thank you.